Evening, Gasheads. Welcome back to another episode and welcome back to the channel. We are back again with episode 33. Of course, we're going to be talking about the recent win. Finally, we got that win against Cheltenham yesterday. We're also going to be previewing Tuesday night's game against Cambridge. Of course, we're second fixture against them. Of course, hopefully we play a lot better than we did the first one, although the first one was only on the third game of the season. But yeah, we're back live. We're live again on YouTube, and we're also live again on Twitter. I thought I'd do it, make it a weekly thing now. So yeah, we're going to be live. Whether it's, I think, no more Tuesday games now until after Cambridge, but the other two games we always go live on a Sunday, and we also go live on a Thursday at 8 p.m. So we'll be back next Thursday at 8, of course, after the Cambridge game. But yeah, thanks to everyone that's tuning in. If you are new, then please do subscribe. I always really do appreciate the quality support. If you're on Twitter and you're not subscribed, then please go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. And yeah, if you're watching, let us know your comments. Any questions, do get them in. We always go over questions. But yeah, always joined by Neil. How are you doing, Neil? You good?
Yeah, mate. Decent. You all right?
Yeah, not bad. Also, don't forget, we've also got some new sort of bit of media on, so you can see our Twitter and Instagram. Go and follow them if you haven't already. And also, do join FanHub. The code is at the top of the screen as well. So if you haven't joined that already, free to do so. Free app. Really good stuff on there to, merch and stuff like that. But yeah, we got Chris as well. Evening, Charlie and Neil, great win yesterday. Team played really well. Still can't understand why he dropped Jed Ward. Looking yesterday, team can't really change unless of injuries. Well, there is a few injury issues, and yeah, of course, we'll get into the lineup very shortly. Even into Juan as well. Argentinian Gas tuning in. It's been a long time. Vamos, yeah, thanks for tuning in, Juan. Good game yesterday, says Rich, and good day. Yeah, good day to you as well. But yeah, we'll get started on the lineup because when I first seen it, when it come out, I was a bit shocked, especially Rossiter, because of the fact that he hadn't played since, October 22. And when I was at the game on Tuesday and I seen him running across the pitch, he couldn't even run. But apparently I was talking to Luke Bayliss, one of the groundsmen. Apparently he's always had this limp. So yeah, I was interesting to see that he was in the starting team sheet. We've seen Connor Taylor and Conley dropped. There was no Conte either. He was on the bench. And yeah, like Chris said about the comment of, no Jed Ward either. I was surprised to see Cox. He hadn't played for the last 15 odd games, something like that. But yeah, what did you make of that starting 11? Because it was back to back four. Hunt was back in the side, his first start in ages. Of course, Cox in goal. We had Wilson and Baggett. Of course, Baggett recently come back from an injury, missed the last couple of games. Vale was left back. You had a midfield of Rossiter and Grant Ward, and then you had Thomas on the right, Evans in the 10, Sinclair on the left, and then Martin up top. What was your thoughts on the lineup?
Yeah, pretty much same as you looked at it. It was all change again, but given Taylor a bit of an hard time of late of the way he's managed this squad and the output he's got out of them due to the way that he's gone in there and dealt with them. But I think it looks to me as of Saturday, the way he's set up and probably what he's going to do now until the end of the season, he's probably looked at it and gone, just going to look after myself now. I'm going to play what I believe to be the best side, regardless of. I was talking about it with my old man earlier. To be honest, he brought it to my attention. He said he's probably just got to the point where he's going, I'm going to play my best team now. I don't care whether they're here next year. I don't care whether they're on loan. I don't care whether they come back or not. I'm just going to play my best side, regardless of where they are in terms of their career at Rovers, their contract. He's probably just got to the point, like I said, of him, I'm going to look after me now and play what I think is going to do what is best for me short term. Because he needs a bit of breathing space now, Taylor. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know the players have got a bit of flack, but there's a little bit of heat coming on him now, and he's probably gone, you know what? I ain't copping it. Like, I've walked into something, fair enough. I may not have dealt with it great, but it's been long enough now, and I'm not copping it no more. So I'm going to do what's right for me. The Ward one, I didn't think anything of it. I never thought I couldn't see him getting taken outside. But again, I go back to his man management. He's probably looked after him there. He's probably gone, do you know what? He's shipping goals in a shit side. It ain't unfair. It's unfair on the kid because he's got loads of quality. He's got loads of potential. Let's just take him out the firing line a little bit, and because what will be in the last 4 anyway.
Yeah.
So whatever happened at Cheltenham was he was going to get get taken out of the spotlight there. So I applaud him for that, Taylor. I think he did. I think it was a smart decision. Whether they would have won, lost, or drawn, I don't think it would have done him any harm taking Ward out of it and gone, do you know what? Just come out the firing line a little bit there, mate, and just look at it from the outside. I think the Brown one's interesting. I don't know where he's at with his Rovers career.
In the squad, was
Brown. I don't know if he's. I don't know what the issue is with him. If there is or Taylor's decided, like I said, I'm going to look after me now, and I've lost patience with whether I've had you before as a player, etc. What I've seen of you of late and the way you are. I think for me, that's just me guessing. I don't know, but ultimately we've had no inkling that he's injured or whatever, but he wasn't part of it. Roster is it's no surprise to anyone that fella plays at a higher level with his body doesn't let him down. That's just the way it is. He's at Bristol Rovers and he's at Fleetwood because his body can't do it. He hasn't. He's just it won't let him do what the demand of being a high-end footballer is. So that's why he's at Bristol Rovers, and that's probably why he's going to leave Bristol Rovers due to the fact that he just cannot get the output of what the quality that he possesses week in, week out.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate because there's a hell of a player in there.
He's quality,
brilliant player in there, but you just can't get 35 games out of him. You just can't, and then he's just a sitting duck for you're paying money for nothing. It's unfortunate, but if you're going to get a balanced squad and you're going to look to do something over the course of a season, get consistency, Jordan Rossiter can't be it, unfortunately. But yeah, that's my take on the lineup. I just think Taylor's looked after himself there, and it's probably served him good come the end of it. You know, they got a result. Let's have it right. If we're going to talk about the game, Cheltenham are a pub team, aren't they? They're an absolute pub team. They were garbage.
They were poor,
Talked about in the week what you'd expect from Cheltenham as far as output, commitment, desire, work rate. Trying to overcome the fact they haven't got the quality. What they'll do is they'll give you grit, determination. They'll fight tooth and nail because they're in a dogfight to try and stay up. Saw none of that. They completely went out with a whimper. Got beat with a whimper. Even at 0-0, they was useless at 0-0.
Yeah.
And the goals they shipped were horrible. If I'm a Cheltenham fan looking at that, I'm pretty disgusted with that because you'd have thought Carlisle would have been the wake-up call.
Yeah, definitely.
And there was nothing. The reaction to that is nothing. And Clark's done well to get him in a fighting chance because what he got left with,
what he come into was
shambles. What he got left with was bare bones and nothing. They were, like I said, he's got a bit of a tune out of a pub team there, and we saw exactly what Cheltenham were on Saturday. They were garbage. Like what happened on Saturday should have happened. Quality v quality. You just thought Cheltenham would have come out with a bit more grit and determination to put a dent in Rovers. Rovers won that pretty comfortably, and I know people talk about, it's great to see us turn up, play really well. Effort, commitment, second gear job. That it was a doddle, an absolute doddle. But there are positives to come out of it. Luke Thomas, if you can get that out of Luke Thomas every week, that's the player you expect. Because at the minute, any of our top players, bar Evans, any of our top players you're looking at the minute, and you'll say, is any other top 6 side taking them? You wouldn't say Luke Thomas is a top 6 League One player at the minute because his output and his numbers don't suggest that he would be, but. Do you know what I mean? That it's in there. It's in there. You just got to get out in there every single week. Putting Connor on the bench again. He's looked after himself there, Taylor. He could have got slaughtered for doing that, but ultimately, it's probably done him. It's done him good. You look at Baggett. Just talk about the goal. That's what you want for yourself. We need more output from our centre half as far as weighing in with goals, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What we saw on Saturday is a glimpse of what you want over the course of a season, as far as. You know, your attacking players being threats, assists, goals, your centre halves weighing in with goals. There's little inklings of positives there, but I'm just saying, let's not get giddy.
No.
Cheltenham are garbage. What happened should have happened because the attitude and the application wasn't as crap as it has been previously. And that's about as far as you can take it. Let's not roll into Cambridge thinking it's 2 on a spin, guaranteed, because you don't know what you're going to get from this side. You just don't know what you're going to get from them.
Yeah, I agree, to be honest. Tom Butler said might as well played Hall. Even into Jimmy as well from the Blades Ramble Sheffield United channel. Even in just saying on congrats on the win and up the gas. Yeah, appreciate it. Go and subscribe to him if you haven't already. Brilliant content. Yusuf saying interesting to see what Matt Taylor said after the game when he said he's going to stop experimenting in the squad and put his best 11. To be fair, I haven't even watched his interview yet. I just sort of come home, had my tea, and just chilled. I didn't even haven't watched the interview, so I'll have to watch it after this. Charlie said, as much as we all love, I think he's on about Grant Ward, saying he's a sink note. That's why he's here and not playing. Yes, it's annoying with him. Of course, he went off injured. He didn't even look injured. That was a weird thing. Apparently, Taylor said it was 2 hamstring injuries for him and James Wilson. Grant Ward didn't even look injured. He looked, because he just stormed off the pitch. He took his shirt off before he even went out. And then obviously there was his Instagram story was like, fuming. But yeah, it looks like he's injured. He didn't look injured. I was wondering, when Aguilera was getting ready to come on, I was like, who's coming off then? Because no one looked injured. But yes, frustrating because of course after the short-term deal we give Wardy in January last season, he played every game until the end of last season. Unfortunately, this season, when he's played, he's looked outstanding, and he probably would be one of the best centre midfielders if he was fit and could play 40 odd games or even 35 games. But at the moment, he's what, off the top of my head in the league, I'd probably say 20, 21, if that, without playing. So yeah, it's frustrating with that regarding Pens in the future. Surely but to be fair, I was saying that even after he missed his first ever penalty in the 5-0 defeat against Lincoln. And then, of course, he misses 2 in a row because before that, he'd scored all of them. So I don't know, it was a poor penalty, but it is what it is. I think you could say you should have, strikers taking them instead, because obviously we haven't seen Martin take one. But to be fair, his penalties were perfect before Lincoln and before yesterday. What's your thoughts on Taylor? Yeah, both of us said, the other day when we done it on Twitter, that we both want him as manager, both want him to do well. Everyone, of course, is, will have their opinions, but yeah, hopefully he can finish the season strong. Obviously Neil said not to get giddy, which I said, I did say in my reaction yesterday, I'll enjoy it because we haven't won for ages. And it did feel good. And I, my thoughts, obviously I've done my reaction yesterday, but I just think, my opinion, I thought we were on it from the first kick of the game, really. I know, yes, Cheltenham were poor, and I was, even from opposition, I was sort of disappointed, and I was really confused on why we didn't see the same Cheltenham, because we knew we're going into the game. They hadn't won the last 2. Like you said, Neil, they lost to bottom of the league on Tuesday night, and you were expecting it, especially Daryl. You'd have thought Daryl Clark, he would have gotten rolled up. But yeah, apart from when Circum come on and looked like, prime De Bruyne and nutmeg Devons and was taking on our players and scored a brilliant goal, there was nothing from them. And from us, it could have been 5 or 6. But yeah, I just think from minute 1, we were on it. Yes, Cheltenham were poor, but I thought we were brilliant. We were there, first to every ball, and looked more fluid. And I think if we would have played like we did on Tuesday against Reading, I think Cheltenham would have beaten us. I think we've been that poor the last 7 games. I think even if we would have played like we did last Tuesday on Saturday, I think we would have lost it, because yeah, it was so much better from what we've seen from the past 7 results. And yeah, to get 3, miss a penalty and still should have been more, really. I thought everyone looked really good. Wilson, Baggett, Vale at left back, Hunt We look so much better with him in the side. He's so good on the ball, and that both sides, right side with Evans, Luke Thomas and Hunt always overlapping. And then the left-hand side, obviously good to see Sinclair. He's been, I think, from the last sort of few games where we've been poor, he's been like one of the more shining lights, really. Like, you'll never see him sort of moan, and it will always give 100%, Sinclair. And yeah, he got his goal well taken. And yeah, overall good performance. But like you said, will it just be a flash in the pan? Because Cambridge are coming here on they haven't won their last two, but they've been playing better as of late, even into longs as well. At least we scored. Yeah, it was funny, just the chance. At least we scored a goal. With those 3 teams coming up from League Two and 3 teams coming down, League One will be a lot stronger. Well, yeah, it all depends, really. I think this season, it sort of feels a little bit of a missed opportunity. But even next season, I think it's until you see the transfers and stuff like that, then who knows? New deal for Sinclair. Philly's done enough in the past 2 months to get a new extension. Thoughts? Yeah, I would give him a new contract. Do you agree, Neil? Would you give Sinclair a new contract?
100%. 100%. Like, the squad's going to need good top senior pros. And look at, like I said when he came in, look at what Scott Sinclair's been, what he's done. Like, he'll set the standard for any other lad that he's training alongside, doing any of his running sessions. He'll be up the front. I mean, he'll just set the standard, And I just think he's just good to have around the place. His body won't let him down. He's looked after himself too well. Look at the clubs he's been at, the level he's played at. Doesn't need he's low maintenance as far as a pro in the football club. Scott Sinclair looks after himself, eats right, rests right. Like I said, he's low maintenance. He doesn't really need a lot of attention. I think he'd be great to have around. I think you'd miss a trick if you didn't offer him another deal, to be honest.
Yeah, I completely agree, to be honest. And yeah, Tom Butler saying we've got good players. This is a good. I agree. I still go back on it. That we have got a good squad, but we've just, whether it's been the 3 changes of managers, obviously including Mangan's caretaker, and not picking a manager early enough, or just inconsistent results. And the matter of times we've come on here and said, there's games like Oxford away, Peterborough, loads of them, Barnsley at home, Barnsley away, the amount of points we should have had. But it's what happens, when you don't take chances and stuff like that. And that's what happens. You have to take your chances when you've got them. And yeah, Alicia agreeing as well. Definitely got to keep Sinclair. But yeah, keep hitting the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, follow the socials, FanHub as well. The code is at the top of the screen. But yeah, we're going to get into Cambridge now. We've pretty much talked a lot about the Cheltenham game. We're going to be joined right now from Jordan. Make sure you go and follow under the Abbey stand. I've got their Twitter in the description below, and make sure you go and give them a follow on all podcast platforms. But yeah, evening, Jordan, and welcome to the preview.
Good evening, gents. Can I check in? You can hear me okay?
Yeah, that's all good. All good.
Brilliant. Whenever I've used StreamYard before, it's always gone wrong. So this is a good start. Thanks for having me. Thanks for beating Cheltenham on Saturday. Nice to be here. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, because there was a few fans from Port Vale as well saying to us, will you beat them? Because we were all pretty shocked, I think. But yeah, like we were just saying, I think it was we were expecting a lot more from Cheltenham, from obviously where they are in the league. But yeah, it was very easy in the end. It's probably not going to be the same on, obviously against you guys, because obviously Gary Monk we'll get into. But what's been your thoughts on the whole season? Because you started off really, really well, like you did last season, but it's sort of, gone on to be quite inconsistent, like large patches of, not getting the right results. And also, of course, Mark Bonner getting sacked, a long-term, manager. He was there. And yeah, what's been your thoughts on the whole season as a Cambridge fan?
I think the best way of describing the season is needlessly dramatic. I was sat backstage, and I think it was you, Charlie, that said that that your season's been a bit of a missed opportunity, and I think that's the same feeling in the Cambridge camp. You had a comment come through about how next year is going to be a lot harder in this division with Wrexham and Stockport coming up and their money. It's a similar sort of feeling for Cambridge fans. We stayed up in very dramatic fashion last season, literally final game of the season.
Yeah.
We won our game, then had to wait for results elsewhere, and we stayed up. We did the Great Escape. It was incredible, but in reality, we were very, very close to dropping back down to League Two. In the summer, the recruitment strategy was to invest in experienced players, like players that had played a lot of games in League One and even the Championship, because that was the approach that we went in January, and the players we got in, and that was the group of players that kept us up. So it was kind of sort of a similar vein of thought. And yeah, we started the season really well, like we did the season before. I was just looking back at the fixture when we played you in August. I think we went top after winning that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it as a season, it's been up, down, up again, then down again, and it's starting to look like it might be on an up to finish. So yeah, started really well under Bonner. Things unfortunately didn't pan out. The really difficult decision was made by the board to get rid of him and replace him. He's still looked on really fondly at this club, and it's an odd one. It's a manager sacking where everyone really didn't want him to go, but reluctantly sort of agreed it was the right thing to do. Brought in Neil Harris, which seemed like a really sensible sort of appointment, even though he'd just been sacked from a club in the division below us. I think that's more a reflection of where Gillingham are rather than him as a manager. He came in, steadied the ship. He did exactly what he needed to do. He kept things simple, and it seemed like an upward trajectory from there. We were getting results, and then sort of had the rug pulled from beneath our feet, as it were, in sort of early February when his former club Millwall came knocking, and he just left us. So so we're on third manager of the season, not including the two lads that did the sort of interim role between Bonner and Harris and Monk. So yeah, a lot of change this season, and it just seems needlessly dramatic because it should have been a much simpler job this season. We should have been a long way clear of the bottom four. It's starting to shape up like we should be safe before that final weekend, so that's an improvement compared on last year, but it does feel like a bit of a wasted opportunity, if I'm honest.
Yeah, because from an opposition looking in, it's a weird one because you've got some really good players. I thought, although you lost two of your best players in the summer in Sam Smith and Harvey Nibbs, who I really wanted us to sign, but of course they both went to Reading, and a few other experienced players you lost. Ironside being another one as well. I thought, looking on paper, even though I might have done my predictions a bit early before when you had hardly signed anyone, I think I put you to go down. But then when you signed the players, I was like, they might have a good season and sort of get mid-table. But like you said, it's just sort of been one of those seasons where you said Neil Harris come in and all of a sudden Mill will come in and he went off as well. And yes, it's sort of been one of those seasons because a lot of games you've been in a lot. There aren't many games where you've been sort of battered in, and you've also kept quite a lot of clean sheets. Like I think you've even got 5 or 6 more than us. But obviously a lot of games have been close and you might not have scored. So, if we're looking at obviously points, you're actually 8 points behind us. You're 18th, currently 6 points clear of the relegation zone with a game in hand. And if you go over to the last 5, you have got some good performances. Like I said before, you haven't won in your last 2, but you've got a good point against Charlton. I think Nathan Jones has only lost his opening game. After that, they haven't lost a game. And then obviously you beat Wigan 3-1, beat Barnsley 2-0 away, and then lost to Reading. What have you made of it since Monk's come in? We did have a question on that as well, from Charlie, about what's your thoughts on Monk. Feel like he's a hell of a coup for you. And Chris also says Monk was linked to the Rovers job before we brought in Taylor. What have you made of him since he's come into Cambridge?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when he first came in, everyone was similar to sort of the question there. If it was a great coup for us, really experienced manager, a manager that's not managed lower than the Championship. Not only that, he's come in and done jobs. You know, things like the Birmingham job, he came in and they're in the bottom three, kept them up. So he not only had this great sort of pedigree, but he'd also been in this kind of sort of situation before of sort of steering teams away from relegation. His first 3 games, if we're honest, weren't very impressive at all. We got a draw in his first game, which was at home to Northampton. Yeah, you know, Northampton had a great season, but really they were quite beachy when we played them. We really should have won that game. Got an early lead, but then somehow managed to throw that away. And then the next 2 games we lost with an aggregate score of 10-0. So the 4-0 that you just had up on screen against Reading, but the game before that was Lincoln that we lost 6-0. So 3 games in, there was lots of questions asked. You know, is this guy not a bad coach, not a bad manager, but maybe just not the right fit? Maybe he's better suited for like a higher level of football or football players, and maybe he can't mix it down the bottom of League One. And you know, the summer will be really interesting where he's not going to have a big amount of money to throw at a squad like he has in these other jobs. But since then, we had a weekend off for the international break. We've come back, different formation, and we won both games over Easter, including a really impressive away win at Barnsley. Beat Wigan at home. We lost to Blackpool. I think the defeat is a little bit misleading. We were really unfortunate in that game. And then on Saturday, first half against Cheltenham, we really could have been sort of 2 or 3 down at half time. We looked out of it, but they turned it around at half time and put in a really credible performance in the second half. So I would say that since that international break, the last 4 games, opinions have really picked up on Gary Monk. You kind of now starting to see the benefit of him having like a prolonged period of time with the squad on the training pitch, being able to sort of implement the things that he wants. And the really encouraging thing about the last 2 games as well was not only were we seeing Monk as a coach and a manager and how he was setting things up and changing it in game, but we're also seeing a group of players sort of really fighting for results. And that's kind of been one of the things that's been missing for a lot of this season. I mentioned at the top about signing a lot of experienced players. I think the downside to that is there's an element of journeyman about them, and some of the people that left in the summer, you know, Sam Smith, Harvey Nibbs, Joe Ironside, Dimi Mitov, all the people you mentioned, they've been in the club for like 3-4 years. We got the promotion out of League Two together. They're all sort of club players as well. So yeah, there are real questions around whether there was that determination in the squad to stay up, but we've seen that over the last couple of games, and you know, we're going into the final 4 games in a really healthy position to stay up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Neil, what's been your thoughts on them? Did you think Cambridge, although with the players they lost, they were sort of going to have a sort of a mid-table season, or yeah, what have you made? And of course, everyone watching, if you've got any more questions or for Cambridge for Jordan, then do leave them in the comments as well. But yeah, Neil, what have you made of Cambridge, and also the getting Monk in as well?
Yeah, I thought they did well when I looked at Cambridge early doors when they were, you know, picking up. I thought brilliant. Bank your points early, because is it really sustainable for a club like Cambridge? Are they really going to do a 40+ game season and, you know, sustain that? And the truth be told, even like Cambridge fans will tell you probably, like, I don't want to speak for them, but they were probably looking at that going, brilliant, let's bank these points early and do what we can before, you know, the things like Christmas come and you're playing back-to-back Saturday, Tuesdays, and, you know, with all due respect, Cambridge aren't built for that sort of, like, their squad aren't built, and their infrastructure is not built to be able to cope with that like a lot of other clubs. So I thought they did well to bank their points early. I thought the blueprint of how they beat us was really good. Like, again, for a side like Cambridge who play their dimensions really well and their ground really well, I thought the way they executed that against Rovers was really good. And I thought that's a good format for a club like Cambridge to go and set about picking up points. The Bonner thing happened where it sort of fell away. They acted. The Harris thing was unfortunate, but who's really to blame? You know, you go and make your money, don't you, as a footballer? No matter what in what role you're in, you go and make your money. The The Monk one's really good. I was really pro Monk when he was linked with us. Look at what he did at Borough, brilliant. I've got mates who are, you know, Borough fans and Birmingham fans. After Borough, he's gone in and, like Jordan said, he's firefighted at places. I think he's a real players manager. Gets close to his players, gets them to buy in. Lots of conversations. He's not very distant. You know, he's not the school teacher type. He does get round him. He talks to him a lot, asks for ideas and input. And I think he's going to make Cambridge a lot more professional. Once you start getting a Gary Monk pre-season into him, he starts building his own back room. I know that he didn't start great, but you've got to understand as well that Gary Monk's got to adjust to that. He's walked into something brand new. He's never been part of something like that at that level, so he's got to adjust himself. But I think you look at like the last 4 games. I think he's found his feet a little bit now. He's got a system of meeting his brief, which is League One football, and he's going to achieve that. And then you'll go into, like I said, pre-season. He'll do his work. He'll build his back room. He'll set his standards again. And I think Cambridge brief again will be League One football, and I think Gary Monk's probably the right man to do that. So I think it's all positive for Cambridge, really. And I don't want to disrespect him and keep saying a club like Cambridge, but everyone's got to understand their level.
Yeah, definitely. Got a question from Stokesy about who do you think we'll do a pre-recorded video on who do we think will get new contracts and stuff in the next sort of few weeks. Sort of maybe just when the season finishes, we'll sort of do something like that. But it's I mean, what have you seen from Monk? You know, that he's added to the Cambridge sort of his sort of positives and also negatives of Cambridge as well. Like what have you seen that he's done? You said he's obviously changed formation as well, as being one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the big one is definitely the formation change. So we this season, and in fact, all of the time that we've been back in League One, have played a 4-2-3-1. He stuck with that formation in his first couple of games. He spoke a lot in his early presses about working with what he's got, and I think there was a fear. You know, we were shipping those goals. There was a fear that we just weren't going to sort of mix it up or change it at all. And then, we came back after the international break and we were playing with a back 5. So we've been playing a 3-4-2-1, although on Saturday we mixed it up slightly and went sort of more of a 3-5-2. I personally reckon when we come to Bristol on Tuesday night, it'll go back to the 3-4-2-1. So the formation is the main one. He's also embraced sort of the younger players and the academy players. So one of the things he did was recall someone from a loan who was playing in the conference, playing him on the right side of that back 3, a young lad who's called Job. His surname is Job. He's got a really long throw on him, sort of late teens, early 20s, hasn't played in the Football League, and he's played basically all of the last sort of 4 games under Monk. So he's not been afraid to sort of mix things up and throw people in. Saturday he gave us a start to Macaulay Bonne, who hasn't really impressed at all since he joined in January for us. So he's not been afraid to sort of make calls on the lineup and change things around. There were questions around our goalkeeper. He's swapped Jack Stevens out for our current number 1, Will Mannion. So he's not been afraid to sort of make big calls. And I just kind of get the impression that he's sort of focused on just keeping us up, and he's not going to get too attached to everyone. And I think he's going to do a big rebuild in the summer. I think he's got his ideas of who can stay and who can't. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the summer.
Yeah, yes, it's an interesting one that you pointed out, that he's given, like you said, that player, you know, who's never played in the Football League a chance and recalled him and stuff like that. And obviously, being a manager, that's what you're based on as well, like you said, with big decisions and changing teams and formations as well. It's an interesting one because usually we most of the season we struggle a lot going up against a team with sort of three at the back, because I like that formation. It's interesting for us as well because we've done a few different tweaks. When Taylor first come in, during sort of the honeymoon period, the sort of first month and a half or so, we were playing with a 3 at the back. But now recently, or not say recently, the last sort of 7-8 games, he's sort of gone to more of a 4. So it's going to be interesting what he does do and what formation he does play against you guys on Tuesday, whether he changes again to a back 3, which he probably won't because Wilson is just got injured, one of the centre halves, and then I think it'll be a 4, but we'll get into that in a sec. Quick question from Stokesy as well. Do you think Marcus will play again? Probably not. I think he's fallen out. I think he's had a falling out, and he's out of contract anyway. So I think he'll be gone. What do you think, Neil? Do you think he'll play again? Because he hasn't been in the squad for the last 2. Do you think he won't play again either?
John Marquis?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he'll be a Rovers playing next season. But again, I think a lot of these lads that are out of contract, I think they're not wanted to come back, and I don't think they want to come back themselves. I think the same for Finley as well. I don't think you'll see him again either, to be honest. I just think they've been told, we are where we are in the league. This is what it is, and these are my thoughts on it. And to be honest, that's 2 as an example have probably gone. That's the way I want it to go anyway.
Yeah, that's true. To be fair, I mean, also from what would you say your strengths and weaknesses are? If Rovers were to get something out of the game, or if you're coming at us, where do Rovers need to look out for in terms of strengths and weaknesses on Tuesday?
Yeah, great question. Got a lot of ideas for weaknesses. It's been one of those seasons. Strengths is going to be a harder one to answer. I think one of the biggest problems we've had when we were playing that 4-2-3-1 was 2 playing in the double pivot. Played Paul Digby and a lad called Jordan Cousins. And Jordan Cousins is one of those players I was talking about at the start. He's played over 200 games in the Championship. He's a really experienced player. And he just hasn't really hit the heights or the expectations that Cambridge fans had for him. To be fair to him, he had a good start to the season and he's been decent the last 2 games. But I definitely think there's a weakness in central midfield. We saw it on Saturday where we sort of played sort of a back 5, then 2 sort of deeper midfielders, and then someone in a 10 and then 2 up top. And it seemed like there was just a really big gap between sort of defense and attack. So that's why I suspect Monk will switch back to sort of a 3-4-2-1 and sort of have sort of 2 10s kind of filling in there. Yeah. If he doesn't, or even if he does, I still think sort of central midfield is definitely an area to target. I think a couple of lads in the back 5 on Tuesday, just due to injuries and things like that, will be sort of on the young side. So I mentioned Job, who's sort of, I think he's only played like 4 or 5 games in the Football League. Got a centre back called Ibsen Rossi, who's played well the last few games as well, that he's come in, but again, doesn't have a lot of football experience. So yeah, some inexperience at the back that could maybe be sort of exploited as well. Strengths, I think we've got a couple. Maybe I'm being a little bit unfair there. The move to sort of 5 at the back has really sort of benefited. We've got a couple of players that aren't brilliant fullbacks, but aren't brilliant wingers, but are perfect for that wing back role. So people like Liam Bennett on the right side, James Brophy on the left. Gibbons has played quite well for us. Obviously, won't play on Tuesday. So that, out wide we've been pretty decent. And then we've got some decent options, sort of centre forwards as well. I saw there's a question about Macaulay Bonne and Lyle Taylor there, but it's actually Ghassan Ahadmi who I'd probably flag as our biggest sort of threat. He's quite, I don't know. I'm always surprised at how physical he is, because he's very tall, but he's not big built. But yeah, he definitely can put himself around, and our upturn in form, it's no coincidence that it coincides with him coming back. He actually won Cambridge's Player of the Month for March, and that might not sound like much, but it's quite funny considering he played about 60 minutes in March. So that's the kind of impact he's had since he's been back from injury, and that's the kind of month we've had. But yeah, I'd keep an eye out for Ahadmi. I think he could be a real handful.
Yeah, because I remember if we go back to the earlier game, like I said, it was ages ago, and it was, I think, the 3rd game of the season. But yeah, Liam Bennett has stood out. He looks a really tidy player. I remember being in that. To be fair, that was probably one of our. I was absolutely fuming. I think, along with most Rovers fans, I think there was boos at the end of that game where you beat us 2-0. We were really poor, but you just done a job on us, because that game had me again stood out. I think he gave Taylor and I think it was Kramer, the back two, then a really torrid time. He didn't score, but it was almost like Martin's performance against Cheltenham. He sort of gave gaps to then, your 10s, whether it was George Thomas or whether it was Brophy, sort of to get in. And yeah, it hopefully it's not going to be nothing like that game, because that was a poor one from us. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting, because me and Neil talked about sort of, obviously not getting too giddy, which I'm definitely not. I don't think, obviously we'll enjoy the win against Cheltenham, because I know Cambridge is going to be tough. I think the last sort of couple of seasons as well that we've played you, they've been really tight games as well. So I'm expecting similar. Neil, what's your thoughts going into this game? Obviously, we'll do our predictions and lineups shortly, but going into the game, what's your thoughts and looking ahead to it?
It's a toss of a coin, mate. You don't know what you're going to get from this group. You've just got no idea what you're going to get from this group. So I could talk to and say it's brilliant that we're going into Tuesday off the back of 3 points and a win. We should carry that momentum, but it counts for nothing. Like I said, I say it every week, like we're just pissing in the wind now, aren't we? We're edging ever closer till the end, and you just don't know what Tuesday's going to bring. We could either go out there, and I talked about the two sides of the game, where you've got attitude, application, culture, and all that, and then you've got just the ability and quality of footballers. Now, if you're going to go on ability and quality, without being rude, Bristol Rovers should win that game at home. It all depends how these two teams fire up and marry up, as far as how they set their stall out and what their mindset is going into it, and how they decide to approach it. If Cambridge turn up, like literally turn up, and are set about going to work on Rovers, and we're not at the races for whatever reason, we decide to just have one of them days, we'll get rolled over at home, because we're at that stage of the season where you've got to mentally want to do it. And you spoke before when we had Bolton at home. Bolton really wired in, part of the season where there's three sides up there really gunning, everyone's winning every week. You've got to be tuned in and on it every week to get a result, whether you play well or not. And Bolton turned up really professional, good away performance, got it done. And then you look at Cambridge. Then you look at Cheltenham. Just went out with a whimper, just completely folded with nothing, with everything to play for. They just folded. So I think it all depends on the two sides when they kick off, who's actually about it mentally, to see how that game's going to go. Should we win it? Yeah, just like I said, based on quality, playing at home, off the back of a win and all the rest of it. Should we win that game on Tuesday? Yes. Am I confident we'll do that? No. That's just how it is.
Yeah. It is true. It is true, because it could literally go either way, because the thing that obviously will be in the players' mind and Taylor's mind and all the Rovers fans' mind is our last home performance, because we haven't. Early on in the season, we were sort of looking to build that really good home form, but as the season's gone on, it sort of got worse and worse and worse and worse. And if you're going off the back of the last home game last Tuesday against Reading, it wasn't very good at all, and I think that will play on the player's mind as well a little bit, and Taylor's mind as well, I think. So it's be interesting. I mean, we'll get into lineups now. I'll start with you first, Neil, and then we'll get into you, Jordan. What starting 11 you'd like to see Cambridge? So, Neil, what would you go with? Would you go a similar team to Saturday, or do you think there'll be more changes?
It's gonna have to get tweaked, isn't it? Due to certain things that have gone on in that game and injuries, etc. It's gonna have to get tweaked regardless. But just going on what Jordan said there, like what I said about quality meeting quality, and then just having, you just got to have the same sort of attitude, application against them to go and see it through. So I'd be more than happy to match up Cambridge. To be honest, I'd be quite happy to go, 3-4-2-1, and I'll play Cox again. I don't think it'd do Ward any harm just to go, because you put him back in off the back of the win and they lose. It's not great for him, is it? So I'll be more than happy to Cox to play. I'll put Taylor back in. I'll play Beefy and Baggett. I play Conter in the middle with Macca. Luke Thomas and Scott Sinclair wide of that. Evans and Aguilera in the hole. Martin through the middle.
Yeah, not really surprised with that sort of matching up Cambridge. And let us know in the comments as well. We'll get on to score predictions in a minute. But yeah, keep hitting the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching through Twitter and you're not subscribed, then please come over, subscribe to the channel, would be appreciated. A lot more content throughout the rest of the last 3 weeks of the season, or 2 and a bit weeks, and also into the summer. And like I said, go and follow Under the Abbey Stand as well on all platforms as well. But yeah, Jordan, what would be your starting 11 for Tuesday night for Cambridge?
I wouldn't do too many changes. Obviously, Saturday was a good result. We're going to have to be forced into one because, Gibbons, obviously, being on loan from yourselves means he won't play, and he's played the last couple, and to be fair to him, has played pretty well. So he's been playing on the left-hand side as a left wing back. So it's all about how we fix that. So we've got either people that can go straight in as a like-for-like replacement, or we could maybe push Danny Andrew, who's been playing the left side of the back three further forward. If it were me, I'd probably... I think I'd push Danny Andrew to left wing back. So my team would be Will Mannion in goal, a back three of Job, Ibsen Rossi and Ryan Bennett. Danny Andrew, left wing back, Liam Bennett, right wing back, Jordan Cousins, Paul Digby in the sort of central area there. Then our 2 number 10s, I'd probably put Brophy back in the side. He didn't start on Saturday. Potentially bring Kai back in, or maybe keep Kachunga. He had a good game on Saturday, and then Hadmi starting up top. We've had a couple of more experienced players not play for a couple of weeks. Told they should be back in training. I think Tuesday might be a little bit too early, but they might make an appearance on the bench. So maybe might see the likes of Lyle Taylor and Michael Morrison come into the squad, but not in a starting capacity.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, because Kai, he was one of the goal scorers in the other game we played. Him and Okanabiri scoring the 2 goals there. So for me, it's tough. I mean, before I actually get onto it, there was obviously, you mentioned Gibbons. I didn't obviously. I knew he was there. He went there in January, and yeah, from what I've seen, he's done well. What would you say if there was an option in the summer? Would you take him on a permanent?
I'm not 100% sure I would. He's one of those players that when he plays well, he's very noticeable. But then there's been other games that you just forget he's been around. So he's not done a bad job since he's come in. I'd like to think that maybe we could, I don't know, maybe sort of upgrade slightly in those sort of areas in the summer. But I wouldn't be upset if he joined in the summer. He's certainly done enough to be considered. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure he'll be here.
Yes, it's weird because when we signed him, there was a lot of rave reviews from Port Vale fans, and they were sort of shocked because we both went up at the same time, and then he sort of then joined us, and I was sort of, from looking at fans' point of view, I was sort of not Cambridge fans, Port Vale fans were like, yeah, he's going to be a good player, but I can probably count one good game on my hand he hasn't played loads of times, but when he's played, I think the last game he played for us in the league was probably the Taylor's first league game, and he put him left back, and he was horrendous. And there's been many bad games. I really wanted it to work out, but I'm not sure either if we signed him on a 3-year deal or if he's out of contract in the summer. I'm not really sure. Do you know Neil, or can anyone let us
his
in the comments?
contract's up.
Is
Yeah,
he
his
out? Is
contract.
he?
Yeah. I think Joey took him on a 2-year deal.
Is it 2 year? Yeah. Yeah, it just hasn't worked out. He's been quite a poor one, but yeah, I didn't realize if he was available to play, because it'd be so Rovers for him to play, pop up with a goal and just win 1-0. But yeah, if he's not available, then yeah, we'll see. Gas said, saying, "Why are you convinced Finley is off? I thought he was just injured." I think me and Neil have talked about it a lot. I just think he was Barton's man, signed on a 2-year deal, but then obviously he had an option with another one. He's out of contract, and yeah, I think both of us agree that it's just end of his contract. I think it'll go back up north. I think you agree as well, Neil, don't you? That's just our point of view. To be honest with you, I just think he's been he has been a good player for us, but with injuries as well, I just want someone that's more there, because when he's on it, to be fair, when he's on it, he is quality, but there's just too many games where he's not, and then he's also got the injuries as well. We don't, rarely play enough games as well, and he'll probably want to go back up north. To be fair, do you agree, Neil, on that as well?
Yeah, I've said it previously. I think, with all due respect, I know his contract's running out, but ultimately, Sam probably thinks, well, this ain't what I signed up for. What I came to do was the project under Barton. He wanted it to carry on under Mangs. That didn't happen, and now he's after that he's probably thinking, right, I'm out of contract, and so let's go back up north with my family. Like, the project's done now. What I signed up for, it all works in phases, doesn't it, with recruitment and managers and players. Yeah. And I just think he's come to the end of that phase now, Sam, and he will just want to go, like, with all due respect, if I'm Sam Finley, I'm telling my agent to go and speak to Stockport or Wrexham right now.
Yeah, back up north, and yeah, they'll probably want to go try and get promotion again. Really, them two, with the obviously money and the support.
I think it's come to the end of the cycle. That's all. Nothing against. Yeah. I don't think Sam Finley's like down tools or anything. I just don't think it's not for him anymore now. Rovers, like, it's come to the end of the cycle, and I think it could be the same for a few of them. Especially, like I said, what Joey built was a really partisan squad that was all there for him, all blood, guts, and thunder, us against the world, and now that environment's changed, and I just think, like, it's just come to the end of the cycle for a lot of them. That's all.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you should say he'll make 3 changes: Aguilera, Conte, Taylor in for Wilson. Yeah, for me, obviously, I don't mind. I would stick to the 4-2-3-1, and just see what happens. I would go. It's hard with keeper. I'd probably just keep Cox, like you said. It's not really going to do him any harm, Ward, and just sitting out with. There's only 3 games left, and he's done well. But yeah, I'd just play Cox again. He didn't do nothing wrong. I thought he was pretty good. Hunt right back again if he can play. I know it'd be hard for him to play again, but he's just so much better on the ball and going forward and attacking, and just on as a right back. So I'd go him right back. I'd go Taylor back at centre back. Left back, I would go Vale again, solid. Again at left back, I would go Thomas on the right, Sinclair on the left. A 2 centre mids of Conte and Aguilera again, or maybe put Evans in the 8 and Aguilera in the 10, and then Martin up front. I wouldn't make too many either. I'd make a couple, so that'd be mine. But yeah, getting on to predictions, we've already got a few in here. Draw 1-1, Thomas with a goal. Alicia 2-1 Rovers. Stokesy 3-1 Gas. Thomas Vell, Sinclair. Keep getting your predictions. We're getting on to ours as well. Get them all in. There's currently 160 of you watching. So please go and like if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching it on Twitter, then come over and subscribe as well. But Neil, I'll go with you first. Do you think we can make it back-to-back wins, or do you think it'd just be coming back down to earth again? What do you think?
No idea, mate. No idea. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that like I said, we should win the game. We should win the game. Like, talk about quality aside, at home, should win the game. But you know, we've seen the culture of this squad recently. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say we'll win 2-1. Martin and Macca and maybe Lyle Taylor for them.
Lyle Taylor, yeah. Jordan, what's your prediction? Are you confident you can get a win, or do you think get a draw, or what are you thinking?
I'd be very happy with a draw. There's a part of me that's thinking Tuesday's going to be like a really big night down the bottom, like Burton and Cheltenham playing each other. Port Vale have got to play Wickham. There is sort of certain connotations that like a draw could actually be more or less enough for us to sort of get the job done. If I'm Gary Monk and I'm the squad of Cambridge players, I'm probably looking at Tuesday and the whole sort of piece and going, do you know what? Good result on Saturday. Results could go away Tuesday night. Let's get the job done. Like, let's not worry about having to perform against Derby on Saturday and the remaining 2 games. So, yeah, I'd be very happy with a draw. I just reckon the team might be fired up for this one and sort of looking at it and saying, do you know what? This could be job done. So, you know what? It's very, very, very rare this season that I've gone on any fan preview and predicted an away win. So let's go for a 2-1 Cambridge win. Why not?
And who's your goal scorers?
Hadme hasn't scored for the last couple, so he's due one. So let's go Hadme.
Hadme. Yeah, that's. I mean, for me, I was actually on the episode of Under the Abbey stand earlier on as well, and I did say 2-1 Rovers, so I'm gonna stick to that. I predicted us to lose on against Cheltenham, but yeah, I'm just hoping it's more hope really, because I wouldn't be surprised if we went and lost. Because yeah, like I said, as of late, our form at home has been really poor, and with a sort of a Cambridge team sort of revitalised, you know, playing well under Monk, I wouldn't be surprised if they did come here and win sort of 2-0. But just because, you know, we've won, hopefully the confidence should do them good. And yeah, I'll go same as what I said under the Abbey earlier on. I'll go 2-1 Rovers. I'll go Bennett to score from a set piece, because we love conceding set pieces, and I'll go Martin because I think he's gone 6 games without a goal. So I'll go Martin with 1, and I'll go with Thomas to score as well. So yeah, that's mine. Yeah, Ben Dow loving it, saying I'm going to score. I wish. Yusuf 1-1. Had me and Sinclair. Tom Butler 1-0. Martin. Who's that? Is are you on about Finley there? Yeah, I to be fair, I don't think he is injured. I heard that he had a falling out. So I don't know. We'll have to see if Finley's back on Tuesday. Who knows? But yeah, like I said, Stokesy gone 3-1, Alicia 2-1, 1-1 draw. So yeah, me and Neil both gone for a 2-1 win, and also Jordan has gone for a 2-1 win for Cambridge. So we'll see. But we're pretty much going to end it here. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in. Thanks to Jordan for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, go and check out Under the Abbey Stand on all podcast platforms. Give them a follow on Twitter. Their Twitter is in the description of this video as well. And yeah, I'll be back on Tuesday for a max reaction where hopefully it's back-to-back wins, but who knows? But yeah, if you've only just joined, then do go and watch it back if you missed any. Subscribe, leave a like. As always, thanks for Neil for coming on again as well. We've also got a last-minute 2-0 win as well. But yeah, thanks to everyone that's tuned in on Twitter, YouTube, and we'll see you in the next one. Up the gas.